Comment down below where you're watching from and don't forget to like and subscribe if you hate Karen. It is 3:58 a.m. in sleepy Cedar Grove, the hour when even night owls nod off. I, Noah Daniels, a 36-year-old maintenance tech at the regional insulin plant, shuffle toward my dented Subaru Outback, black coffee trembling in one hand. I'm halfway through fitting the key when I hear it, rapid-fire stiletto heels snapping against driveway concrete. Out of the pre-dawn gloom materializes Karen Vanderwyck, floral dress billowing like a storm flag. She steps squarely between me and the driver's side door, lips pursed in righteous outrage. "Noah," she trills, voice sharp enough to etch glass, "you will uncover your swimming pool immediately. I require a sunrise swim." My mind lurches, from exhaustion to utter disbelief, then back to the tarp-wrapped in-ground oasis I spent last summer renovating. "Karen," I answer, keeping fatigue from sounding like contempt, "it's nearly 4 in the morning. I'm due at work, and that pool is private." She ignores the explanation, pale finger stabbing toward my backyard. "I pay taxes. I live here. Community amenities are mine to use when I please." Caffeine can't steady the pulse thumping in my ears. The pre-shift calm I'd counted on evaporates, replaced by the unsettling certainty that this confrontation is only beginning. Karen's refusal to budge is a masterclass in entitlement. She plants her patent leather heels, folds her arms, and delivers a sermon on community spirit, while I inch sideways toward the driver's door. "I'll be gone 12 hours, I say, voice level. Remove the tarp yourself after sunrise if you must, but you'll still be trespassing." Her eyes flare. "That cover has locking straps, Noah. I can't risk breaking a nail. Besides, my circadian rhythm requires a pre-dawn plunge." "You wouldn't deny a medical need, would you?" "Medical need?" I resist the snort clawing up my throat. "Karen, the pool is on my deed. You have no claim." She lunges, seizing my sleeve with surprising strength. "Open it or I'll phone Cedar Grove PD for harassment and denial of community access. I know my rights." The threat snaps my patience. I free my arm. "Touch me again and the only right you'll exercise is your right to remain silent." That turns the dial to shriek mode. She yells, "Help. He's assaulting me," loud enough to rattle mailboxes. Porch lights flicker on up and down Maple Court. I tap record on my phone, the red dot glows like insurance. Headlights crest the cul-de-sac. Officer Grant Lowry, night patrol, familiar from traffic duty, rolls to a stop. He steps out, one brow already climbing. "Evening, folks. Or morning, I guess. What's the issue?" Karen darts forward, mascara already smudged by righteous tears. "He's hiding a community pool and physically blocked me from using it." Lowry blinks. "Community pool? Pretty sure the HOA never built one. It's under his tarp." She jabs a finger toward my backyard. "He's hoarding resources I pay taxes for." Lowry turns to me. I show him the phone footage, Karen's sleeve grab, my calm rebuttal. He watches, lips pressing thin. "Ma'am," he says, "this appears to be private property. You're bordering on disorderly conduct." Karen's shrill confidence falters, but she rallies. "Then cite him for denying accommodation. I have insomnia brought on by neighborhood construction. A swim is therapeutic." Lowry sighs. "That's not how law works." To me, "Do you wish to press charges for the grab?" I shake my head. 5 a.m. court dates sound worse than coating pills. Just need to get to work. Lowry writes an incident number, hands Karen a formal warning. "Ma'am, any further disturbance before sunrise will result in a citation." She sputters as he drives off. I slip into the Subaru, heart still hammering, and back out while Karen's silhouette trembles in the rearview, floral dress plastered to her legs, a lighthouse of indignation in the pre-dawn gloom. I know, deep in my gut, she's plotting her next move, and I haven't heard the last staccato of those high heels. 2 nights of uneasy quiet pass before the next eruption. I'm refilling the Subaru's windshield fluid when a cruiser swings onto Maple Court, lights off, engine low. Officer Lowry steps out, this time accompanied by Sergeant Elena Ruiz. My stomach drops. "Noah," Lowry greets, "we received another complaint." From the darkness Karen emerges, wrapped in a robe, brandishing a flashlight like a courtroom exhibit. "Show them," she hisses, yanking the tarp's corner. Beneath, moonlight glints off stainless steel padlocks I installed after her last stunt. See? He's barricaded the pool, my pool, with chains. That's illegal confinement of a community resource. Ruiz peers over the fence. "Ma'am, chains on private property aren't a crime." "But he threatened me with violence," Karen insists. "He nearly dislocated my shoulder trying to keep me out." Lowry checks his tablet. "Your previous statement claimed he shoved you, not twisted your arm." She blinks, caught in her own script. I produce my phone again. This time the officers watch 3 separate clips, the sleeve grab, my warnings, her screams. Ruiz pockets the device as evidence. "Mr. Daniels," she says, "would you like to file a formal harassment report?" "Yes," I answer, tired of diplomacy. "And I'd like a trespass order." Karen's jaw drops. This is retaliation. Ruiz radios dispatch. Requesting supervisor and unit for trespass documentation. Turning back, "Ma'am, please remain on the sidewalk." Karen refuses, plants herself on my lawn, and begins live streaming to an audience of sleepless Facebook friends. "I'm being oppressed," she declares to the camera. "Tax-paying citizens have no rights in Cedar Grove." Ruiz's patience evaporates. She issues a final command. Karen's only response is a shrieked, "Hoist me over the fence, viewers. I'll prove it's public property." That's enough. Handcuffs clink. Ruiz recites rights while Lowry retrieves Karen's phone, still broadcasting. The feed captures her outrage as she's guided to the cruiser. Neighbors gather in pajamas, some recording their own footage. Mrs. Ramirez whispers, "She called the cops on my teens for sidewalk chalk last month." Mr. Patel nods grimly, and said our Diwali lights violated code. Ruiz returns my phone. "We'll forward the trespass paperwork. Court date should arrive within 2 weeks. Meanwhile, consider security cameras." I thank her, but dread coils in my gut. Karen's face, framed in the cruiser's rear window, isn't contrite, it's calculating. A single night in holding won't end this. But the tide has turned, her live stream inadvertently shared proof of her own arrest. Cedar Grove's rumor mill will churn, and daylight may bring allies who've stayed silent too long. I lock the gate, test each padlock, and finally head inside. Winston the dachshund greets me with a yawn. I scratch his ears, whispering what I half believe, "It'll settle down now." Yet even as the words leave my mouth, I picture Karen drafting complaints, and the battle lines across sleepy Maple Court feel freshly drawn. The morning after Karen's live stream arrest, Cedar Grove's private Facebook group explodes. The video, archived by Night Owl teens before police seized the phone, uploads under the caption, "4 a.m. pool meltdown." Within hours, hundreds of residents view Karen screaming about public ownership while officers cuff her. Comments pour in. "She called code enforcement on our loud prayer bells. She said my service dog was a fake accessory. Finally someone filmed her." By lunchtime, HOA President Marcia Glenn emails a special session notice, agenda, harassment pattern and community safety. I'm copied. Evidently, Maple Court's tranquility masks a cluster of long-ignored grievances. Before the meeting I stop at Cedar Grove Police Headquarters to finalize the trespass affidavit. While waiting, Officer Lowry hands me a folder, prior incident reports all naming Karen, noise complaints, suspicious package deliveries, phantom vandalism. Each case ended inconclusive, but together, they map a worrying obsession with control, especially targeting immigrant, single, or night shift households. Sergeant Ruiz is forwarding this to the county attorney, Lowry explains. Could rise to criminal harassment. I sign my statement, then drive to the HOA clubhouse. The room buzzes with residents clutching printouts of Karen's Facebook diatribes. At the front, President Glenn raps her gavel. Tonight's testimony concerns ongoing intimidation by Ms. Vanderwyck. One after another, neighbors speak. Mrs. Ramirez describes police visits over chalk drawings. The Patels recount citations for cultural lanterns. A widower named Carl says Karen reported his grandkid sleepover as an unauthorized childcare business. Each story triggers murmurs of solidarity and regret at collective silence. When it's my turn, I play the phone footage, Karen grabbing my sleeve, her 4 a.m. demand, the arrest clip. Gasps ripple. Someone whispers, she escalated to battery. Glenn clears her throat, voice steely. Under Bylaw 14C, harassment and false accusations warrant fines and suspension of HOA privileges. Unanimous. Hands raise, save one. Dr. Harold Vanderwyck, Karen's husband, lowers his gaze but abstains. After adjournment, Harold approaches me outside. Thin, cardiganed, he seems smaller than his wife's shadow. Mr. Daniels, I'm sorry. I stiffen, unsure if apology or warning follows. She's not well, he continues. Insomnia, anxiety. The doctor suggested therapy, but she refuses. He hands me a business card, Medipeace Counseling. If she agrees to treatment, would you reconsider pressing charges? Compassion wars with anger. She put her hands on me, Harold. And threatened more. He nods, defeated. I understand. Days blur into depositions and sleepless shifts at the insulin plant. Rumor says Karen posted bail, though she hasn't returned home. Harold fields gardeners, mail, and an ominous stack of certified letters, citations, subpoenas, HOA fines. Meanwhile the community organizes, a neighborhood watch WhatsApp group, a weekend block party, to reclaim the street's vibe, food trucks lining Maple Court. Kids chalk colorful fish along the sidewalk Karen once patrolled. I grill hot dogs next to Mrs. Patel's samosas, laughter replaces the echo of stiletto heels. But tension lingers. One dusk, Winston growls at flitting headlights. A rideshare idles by the Vanderwyck residence, Karen steps out, eyes scanning the revelry. Conversations hush. She strides to her door, shoulders stiff, ignoring Harold's tentative greeting. The street holds its breath until she disappears inside. At 11 p.m. My doorbell rings. I peer through the peephole, Karen, eyes puffy, no makeup, clutching papers. Noah, she says, voice brittle. I want this to end. She holds up a handwritten apology letter, and a retraction form for the harassment claim. Part of me wants to slam the door, another part sees a frayed human unraveling. Let the courts handle it, I reply. I'm done negotiating at my doorstep. Her lip quivers. You'll ruin me. Your choices did that, I answer, closing the door. Not with a slam but a firm click, boundaries finally set. That night I sleep soundly for the first time since the 3:58 a.m. standoff. Yet dawn brings headlines, local woman faces hate crime review after pool incident. The district attorney is weighing enhanced charges due to pattern targeting ethnic minorities. My stomach knots, I hadn't wanted a hate crime label, only peace, but perhaps exposure is the only disinfectant strong enough. The preliminary hearing arrives. Courtroom packed, media present. Karen pleads not guilty. Judge schedules trial, revokes her bail after she whispers threats toward a witness. She's escorted to county jail, floral dress exchanged for orange scrubs. Harold weeps silently. Leaving the courthouse, I feel neither triumph nor sorrow, only certainty that Cedar Grove's spell of fearful quiet has broken. What grows in the cleared space remains to be seen. The wait for trial stretches 3 months. Cedar Grove adapts. A new street calming ordinance passes, porch cameras proliferate, HOA establishes a respect and inclusion committee. I'm drafted as treasurer, numbers soothe where emotions fray. Papers report Karen's jail outbursts, demanding spa water, accusing guards of conspiracy. Her attorney files motions for mental health evaluation, citing sleep disorders. Expert witnesses assess, diagnosis, narcissistic personality traits, no psychosis. Fit to stand trial. Opening day, courtroom C4 hums. Prosecutor Leanne Cho outlines pattern, 14 false police reports, 22 HOA complaints, all aimed at households of color or night shift workers whose schedules annoyed her. Exhibit A, My Pool Confrontation Video. Exhibit B, Chalk Drawing, Vandalism, Call Audio with Karen muttering, foreign scrawl. The jury's expressions harden. Defense attorney argues stress, menopause, insomnia, claims Cedar Grove's zoning codes confused her. Judge Serrano, stoic, sustains objections to blatant victim blaming. I testify, recounting the 4 a.m. demand, sleeve grab, live stream. Cross-examination tries to paint me as hostile for refusing a simple favor. I counter, favor at gunpoint of false arrest. Gasps, defense withdraws. Mrs. Patel testifies, Karen shouted, take your festival back to Mumbai, over Diwali lights. The Ramirez teens show chalk fish photographs, jury sees nothing but color and whimsy. Mid-trial bombshell. Prosecutor introduces HOA meeting video where Karen says, these newcomers breed like rabbits, property values sink. Defense scrambles, motion to exclude fails, the clip predates incident, showing motive. Harold testifies reluctantly, confirming nighttime rants and obsessive note-writing. On redirect he admits them, hurtful, yes. Jury watches his shoulders slump under decades of complicity. Closing arguments, Cho invokes Cedar Grove's founding motto, neighbors first. She frames case not as vengeance but protection. Defense pleads for leniency, citing empty criminal record, community volunteer, bake sale committee. Cho rebuts, volunteerism isn't a license to terrorize. Deliberation lasts 4 hours. Verdict, guilty, felony harassment with hate crime enhancement, misdemeanor battery. Sentencing, 10 months jail, credit for time served. 3 years supervised probation, mandatory cultural competency program, restitution fines, and a restraining order 200 feet from victims. Karen's reaction, sobbing then snarling, this isn't over, secures the restraining order justification. Court adjourns. Cedar Grove exhales. Local TV interviews me, I stress systemic lessons, not personal victory. Comments online split, some cheer justice, trolls decry, cancel culture. I mute the noise. Weeks later, Harold lists the house. At the estate sale I see floral dresses draped lifeless on racks. I buy none, but I purchase a weathered birdbath and donate it to Sawyer Park with a plaque, let kindness nest here. The day Karen transfers to county work release, I'm told she'll clean litter along Highway 8. Winston and I drive by inadvertently, I glance once, orange vest, face turned from traffic. Empathy stirs but remains distant, accountability's weight is hers to lift. Life recalibrates. On a balmy Saturday the HOA launches a multicultural potluck. Flags line the cul-de-sac, Motown mingles with Bollywood beats. I unveil the pool, lock removed, hosting kids' cannonball contests. Laughter rings where shrieks once echoed. Later, under string lights, Mrs. Ramirez thanks me. I shake my head, we all pushed back. She smiles, but you filmed first. Perhaps, I think, courage is contagious, you just need one clip to break the dam. Spring rains return, but Maple Court no longer flinches at high-heeled echoes, none remain. New owners, the Audiostories family, move into the Vanderwyck house. They bake puff-puff and introduce themselves door to door. Harold, renting an apartment downtown, volunteers at the community center, teaching spreadsheet skills. I adopt a practice of sunrise swims, ironic, given their origin story. The still water reflects dawn hues, each lap feels like reclaiming those pre-work hours. Sometimes neighbors join, sometimes I'm alone except for Winston patrolling deck perimeter, tiny lifeguard vest secured. One morning after laps, I find an envelope in the mailbox. Inside, a typed apology signed, Patricia Vanderwyck. She acknowledges harm, thanks me for not escalating force, says therapy has begun. I stand on the porch, letter fluttering, unsure how to feel. Forgiveness is optional, but closure helps. I file it in a drawer marked, completed. Cedar Grove police stats show nuisance calls down 60%. HOA's Respect and Inclusion Committee unveils a mediation portal, replicated by nearby associations. Local paper calls it the pool effect. At work, the insulin line upgrades to automated coding, supervisors need me on daylight shift. No more 3:58 a.m. scrambles, though Winston still wakes on old schedule, claws tapping hardwood until I toss a chew. Sometimes, before breakfast, I walk Maple Court, noting chalk art undisturbed, lanterns strung with pride, kids waiting for the school bus without wary glances. Peace isn't silent, it's layered with normal sounds that were once weapons. I keep the phone that captured everything, battery charged, not out of paranoia but reminder, documentation can defend decency. Yet I hope it never leaves my pocket again. Summer's HOA annual meeting convenes under the pergola by my pool. Attendance triples last year's. Agenda Item 2, Awards for Community Resilience. President Glenn clears her throat and calls my name. Applause startles me, Winston barks approval. She hands me a plaque, carved maple, ironically. For upholding neighborly boundaries with integrity. I stammer thanks, but redirect spotlight to the broader changes, we rewrote rules together, we'll keep improving together. Later, Judge Serrano attends as guest speaker. He praises Cedar Grove's initiative and suggests a countywide forum. I volunteer spreadsheets. As dusk paints the sky, the Audiostories kids beg for a pool jump. Their parents insist they ask permission. Consent granted, they cannonball, droplets glitter like confetti. I remember Karen's chain-rattling demands and marvel at how a proper invitation feels worlds apart. Harold arrives quietly, sets a potted dogwood beside the gate, nods at me. I nod back. No words needed. Just acknowledgement that futures diverge from pasts. Under string lights, neighbors trade recipes and stories once whispered, immigration journeys, graveyard shift hacks, how chalk fish guarded Mrs. Ramirez's garden from snails. Laughter rises. The pool, once symbol of conflict, now holds floating LED lilies, rainbow halos drifting across calm water. I realize community isn't the absence of Karen-type chaos but the presence of enough connected people to dilute it. Like chlorine, solidarity sanitizes without sterilizing life's warmer elements. 1 year to the day since the stiletto confrontation, Cedar Grove holds a sunrise charity 5K benefiting the county animal shelter. I pin bib number 401 to my shirt, Winston wears number 402 strapped to his harness. At the starting horn, we jog past familiar houses blooming with confidence. Mid-route, I catch sight of a billboard, accountability builds communities, report harassment early. Our story, condensed into slogan, now guides strangers. Crossing the finish line, I dip into the pool, publicly opened this year for community fundraisers. Kids squeal, adults lounge, Winston paddles heroically after a neon tennis ball. The scene is everything Karen claimed to want, yet it's here by consent, not coercion. Reporters covering the event ask for a quote. I keep it simple, boundaries respected turn into bridges. They nod, scribble. Maybe it'll land as headline, maybe buried. Impact already ripples through laughter echoing against cedar fences. That evening I log final expenses, race raised $12,000 for rescue animals. Spreadsheet totals align, a tidy bow on a messy origin. I close the laptop, step onto the deck, and watch candles flicker along the water's edge. A single shooting star streaks overhead, Cedar Grove sky offering a cosmic exhale. I whisper thanks. To luck, to cameras, to neighbors who found their voices, even to Karen for inadvertently galvanizing a better version of this street. Winston curls beside the deck chair, I scratch behind one ear. We did okay, buddy. He sighs, nose twitching toward distant barbecues. Somewhere beyond the maples, life will spawn new Karens, new 4 a.m. demands. But here, tonight, Cedar Grove stands ready. Lines drawn clearly, compassion stalked deeply, and a pool of calm water reflecting the porch lights like tiny beacons of enduring, everyday justice.